Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome into PTN Extra. Ailey Weiss joined alongside Mike Irwin. And football is officially back. Ryan Silverfield with his first fall practice in the books. Mike, you weren't there yesterday. You and I are going to head over after we're done recording this, but it's finally football season.
Yeah, I'm more of an offensive guy. So today it's all about
Today's
offense.
more your...
We're going to go over and watch some offense. But yesterday the focus was on the defense with the defensive players and defensive Ron Roberts talking a lot about what happened out there. Now, I did look at a lot of the video that you shot, so you know what you shot.
First of all, how'd I do?
You did good.
Okay.
You were what I noticed was you were shooting the inside linebackers, and there were only 4 guys they were coaching out there. So that's one coach with 4 guys. And this is what we're being told about in the beginning about Silverfield's staff when he assembled it, was that he wanted to have more individual attention with, instead of having 6 guys being coached by one guy, or 8, maybe 4. And that's what we saw there. And then there were separate drills involving the one outside linebacker position. And there were more of those. But the point is, it looked like everybody was getting a lot of individual instruction. I know at one point, one of the guys wasn't satisfied with what he did.
Yes,
and
Bradley Shaw.
Yeah, and he went back.
They had done like 4 or 5 reps of this drill, and he was like, Coach, I don't like that. Let me get another one
This is one of your leaders.
I love that.
He's the leader coming back at one of those linebacker positions. And so he asked to do it over again. And I could see where he was also encouraging the other guys when they did a good rep, and not just all the time, but when they did a good rep, he was like high-fiving or whatever. So it looked like there was a lot of good camaraderie out there.
And the younger guys also felt comfortable enough to go up to him and ask questions of, oh, your footwork was different than mine on that. How did you do that? Like little things like that.
And then afterward, there was a lot of discussion about they liked Ron Roberts. They liked the way he explained it to them. Having him all this time of them explaining, him explaining to them how this defense is going to work. Now they were actually seeing it in more of a full-scale practice, although they did go through it in the spring. But this is a little bit different here.
Yeah.
And
no pads yet, but
they could really see how it's now starting to come together, and he could answer their questions in a way that they could understand him. Communication is huge. So it all looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But we're guessing a lot,
also,
too.
just like from being there, the energy of the defense, like I was focusing more on the defense, and our new member of PTN, Paige, was over on the offensive side. But just from what I saw, the energy was super, super high. Everyone really hustling, everyone going through every rep. That's how it should be. I'm not saying that's like exceeding expectations or anything, but that just looked good. It looked up to par, if not exceeding it, I guess.
Yeah, and the offensive guys were complimenting them. They've said that all along. The defense is better now. How much better, I don't know. You said at one point, one of those guys said, we didn't give us up a single wide open bomb. Yes, they did. This was after you guys left. Hogs Plus continued to shoot, and they showed one play on their website in which KJ Jackson dropped back and found, who was it? It was CJ Brown.
Yeah. And it's funny, Brown's the one that made the comment of, hey, not too many blown coverages deep, because that was a big issue for the defense. He was
wide open, and they delivered it right on target. It was a beautiful pass. Now, I had a friend over there that used to be in the media, not anymore. He's retired. But he went over there just to watch the quarterbacks, and of course he was all talking about Hendricks. And Hendricks, he said, oh, he's got a better passing arm than the other 2 guys. Maybe he does in just throwing the ball, but you got to do that in a game.
Right.
And I still think, and if I'm wrong about this, I'll be wrong, but I think KJ Jackson is going to be the starter. He just doesn't make mistakes. He's got a better arm than people realize, and he really delivers under pressure. And I just got through looking at a reel that somebody put up because people are saying he has no SEC experience. Well, he started the Missouri game and he played in some other games, and they showed all this video of stuff that he did, and he never looked confused.
Yeah.
He made a lot of big
Very
plays. So I just think he's going to be a lot better than some of these people think he is, because he doesn't have a lot of experience right now.
Yeah, we got to hear from Ron Roberts, Hunter Osborne, and CJ Brown after practice. Is there anything that Ron Roberts said to you that stood out that's kind of sticking with you?
Yeah, he just he said, somebody asked him, what do you want other defenses to think after they played you? And he said, I want them to think we're mean.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like I want them to be like, that was tough as hell. I want them to fight for first downs, which.
Yeah.
Right.
And he said, the other thing he said was, and again, Now all these negative people are popping up and pointing out that Ron Roberts had a couple of bad teams at Florida. Well, he did because Florida's offense was awful. But they're ignoring the fact that he had some really good defenses there when their offense wasn't as bad. But he said at one point, this is one of the better defensive units I've worked with. And then they're trying to counter that by saying, well, you haven't worked with any good, which is not true.
He's been doing this for 35 years, over 35 years. He's had to have worked with one or two good defenses at this point.
Well, he's really well respected as defensive coordinator. Don't pay any attention to these internet goobers, especially on X, because half the time they just post stuff they don't know anything about. Yeah. Again, he was on 2 Florida teams right there at the end where their offense was awful. So if you're always having to stop some team from the 35-yard line in, it's a lot different than if you start on their 20. It just you can go back and look at that with just about any defense you want to name. Yeah. So I think if you look at his career overall and even his time at Florida, he's very well respected. Mm-hmm. Now, again, how this defense will stack up, we still have to see it in a game, and we're not going to see any of these scrimmages, and we don't see the part at the end where they're going more 7-on-7, even 11-on-11. But
for those that don't know, media is only allowed in for X amount of time, and then we're only allowed to shoot part of that time. So we're really not allowed for any of the scrimmaging. It's mostly just drills and stuff like that is what we're able to see.
Right.
So, okay, we also got to hear from Hunter Osborne. Now, he's a D lineman that came in, I believe, from Virginia. And I loved what he had to say. He was talking about a young guy in Danny Beal, and he was saying the night before first day of fall camp, he's texted me at 9 p.m. asking him about some of the offensive schemes they're going to be going against, some of the plays that they have. And he's like, he is a guy who constantly wants to be learning. They were asked if anybody has been kind of standing out, and they were all kind of avoiding trying to point one person out, but it felt like Danny Beal kept getting brought up again and again.
Yeah, he's one of those young guys that Ron Roberts talked about when he said if there's a position where we don't have a lot of experience, it's the D line. Mm-hmm. You know, you got Osborne out there, you know, who's a veteran player and a transfer, but you got some inexperienced guys there, but he knows that. Mm-hmm. You can tell that he's been working with these guys, mm-hmm. trying to get them better as backups so that they can come in a game and give you, let you sit out a series so you can get, you're not worn out in the third and fourth quarter.
I mean, we're out there right now and it is hot. The turf adds another at least 15 degrees. These guys are sweating up a storm. I can't imagine in a game situation. Yes, everybody's dealing with the heat. I get that. But if you can have some backup guys that go in there and keep some of your main guys more fresh, then that's so valuable.
You can be later in the season when it's not hot.
That too.
And you can still have problems if you have to play every snap.
Yep.
If you're a defensive tackle and you've got to go out there on every defensive possession and do something, it'll wear you out by the fourth quarter. I've seen it happen.
Yep. All right, so Hunter Osborne, anything from C.J. Brown that kind of stuck out?
I just saw him on that one. He was wide open, but he has to make the catch too, and it was put perfectly into his hands. Yeah. So we were impressed with that.
All right. He kind of touched on the quarterback duel. He made a couple of remarks about Hunter Hendricks as well. Said he's talented, but he's very young. Again, we haven't seen him really throwing the ball deep much or really under any pressure so far.
Yeah, it looked like he was number 3 in the rotation, and he's not as tall as K.J. Jefferson, and A.J. Hill is the tallest, I think, 165, 164, and he's 6'3". So he's not quite as tall. Again, the person I was talking about that said he had a great arm, said he's more zip on his passes, he's more accurate. Again, in passing drills.
Right.
He didn't see them in a 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 situation.
Right, all right.
But I think they've got at least 3 quarterbacks that if they had to play, if the other 2 got hurt and Hendricks had to play, I don't think it's a disaster. It may not be ideal, but I think they've got 3 quarterbacks right now that are pretty good.
All right, well, you'll get to get your very own eyes on them today at practice. We're going to take a quick time out here on PTN Extra. More coming up after the break. Stick with us. All right, Mike, the Bahama Hogs are back in Arkansas, and they definitely showed out. I was talking to Matt Zimmerman yesterday at fall camp, and he had quite the blast out there. He said that the team had fun. It was a great trip for everyone.
Yeah. And they performed well. Now, how well, I mean, I don't know. Most people are hanging on what Cal said there at the end when he said, look, I found out I've got 3 guards that can score, run the team, shoot. Mm-hmm. I'm happy about that. He said, I got 2 new freshman forwards or wings in there that they can score along with Billy Richmond, so I'm happy there. Said we just got some work to do inside. I think when you add Mika Murinen to that group as a forward, an active forward, and then you put Caleb Arugu,
Arigu?
I want to say Arrigo.
It's okay.
But it's Arrigu.
We'll get plenty of reps saying his name.
I'll remember that sooner or later. When you stick him in there, and I saw him get better every game. He's just more assertive. He's definitely a center type. I think those 2 guys are going to start. So what you're going to see then is if you start those 2, then you're talking about rotating Billy Richmond, J.J. Andrews, Abdou Toure, and then you've got maybe 2 guards, and maybe they go with 1 guard occasionally and have 2 of those forwards out there, and so you'd end up with 3 forwards, one of them more of a big forward. But the point is he's got options, and I liked, what I saw. Now, you got to take all of this with a grain of salt.
Right.
Because we found out, I think a couple of days ago, that the Colombian national team, which was supposed to be the best team they played, I didn't think they were. But right before Arkansas played them, A&M was there, and they watched that game. And so they were able to scout the Colombian national NBA type, international basketball type team.
Yeah.
And they scouted them, and they beat them by 80.
Yeah.
Arkansas beat them by 41-42. They beat them by 80, and people are now freaking out over that, some people. I would point out that it makes a big difference when you get to watch somebody. Arkansas had nothing like that. They had to play that first game, and then boom, now you're playing these guys.
Right.
So to be able to sit back and play them with, you've had plenty of rest. Arkansas didn't. They played that first game. Now they play the second game and ended up playing 4. You start making these comparisons, and there's just no point to it.
Yeah.
You're not going to really know for sure until they start playing games in November and December. But I mean, I don't know how you could complain about what we saw. There's just almost nothing that didn't work. Maybe Bowser didn't do what they hoped he would do. He was never supposed to be a scorer, but he should have rebounded better. His defense could have been better. But he'll have plenty of time to work on that, too.
Yeah, we have to remember it's late July, early August when these games are being played.
That's right.
So really, really early. One team that gave them a little bit of trouble in the first half, though, is Carleton. Yeah. They did adjust well in the second, but that first half, is that concerning to you at all? Or are you admiring the shift that they made in the second half?
I think a lot of that was they had a blowout in the first game and probably just thought they'd do the same thing in this game.
Right through.
And it was a totally different kind of game. They were playing better defense. It was harder to score. You couldn't just steal and dunk. You couldn't just do pretty much anything you wanted inside, blow inside and put up a layup. So it was a little more difficult in the first half, and then Jordan Smith Jr. really took over the team in the second half. He ended up with a triple-double.
Did he remind you of anyone taking over in the second half?
Well, he's just, and some people got real excited. There was some national guy that said, oh, he may end up being the #1 draft pick. Well, he might not. But I think what people are reacting to is his overall game compared, to Darius Akov. There's no question that he's a better overall point guard. Now, is he better in the end with the end result? So we're going to have to wait and see about that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of optimism, and that did create a lot of buzz across every platform. I was seeing tons of media coverage, national coverage as well, lots of eyes on that tournament. So definitely some good coverage for the Hogs.
The guy that really surprised me was Andrews, because I thought he might be a little behind Toure. He actually dominated and really looked good, especially in that last game. I just think both of them are really good. Billy Richmond probably could have played better. He's going to have to fit in with them somehow.
I was going to ask, where do you see him fitting in? Because it felt like he was almost struggling to get a little bit of playing time there.
Well, the word was he was coming back to work on his three-point shot. Well, I've never thought that he had a three-point shot. I don't know how you develop that.
I just don't feel like that's what he brings to this team.
No, I don't think that's his kind of player.
Yeah.
Maybe he could develop some better shooting
and
closer
honestly,
in.
When he did the NBA Combine, his three-point shooting did look much better than what it did in the beginning of last season.
Well, it didn't look good in this tournament.
Yeah.
And I just think he needs to concentrate on doing what he always did, which is he's a very active wing who can go to the basket, blow past people, lay it up, sometimes go around somebody. rebound and put it back up, rebound and assist to somebody else. He's more of an inside player than maybe most guys his height would be, but he's good at that.
Yeah, all right. We pretty much gone through the whole roster. One more guy, though, we haven't touched on, Jeremiah Wilkinson. What did you think of him throughout the 4 games?
Yeah, I really liked him a lot.
Yeah.
I liked him when they picked him up. I mean, this guy's a scorer.
Yeah.
He's very active. He can be a backup point guard. He can come in there and play the point if he has to, but he can also be an off guard. And again, the guy can shoot. He can shoot from 3. He can shoot from 2. He can even go in like Jordan Smith Jr. sometimes and with quickness go with a layup, go blow past the defense. So I just think he's very skilled. I think he's a veteran. You know, he's not.
I think that's going to be his biggest strength that he
he's
brings to this team. Yeah, I agree. Bringing the experience that he has to all these young guys, because we talk about how young this team is and the lack of experience in the SEC. Well, this guy's coming over from Georgia, so he has that experience.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Average point margin for this team in the Bahamas, 46.5 points. Definitely a good start for the Hogs. All these exhibition games, though. So the real playing will start in what, October? October, yeah. I think. October.
Late October, early November.
Basketball season cannot come soon enough. But first, we got some football. All right, taking a quick break here on PTN. We have some baseball to talk about coming up next. Not done yet here on PTN Extra. Ailey Weiss joined alongside Mike Irwin for one last segment. We're talking Diamond Hogs. DVH just in the studio on Trey Dare's podcast, so you can catch that over on our website, on social media. That'll be all over there. But he was chatting with us beforehand, and we had some questions for him regarding mainly the roster, because there's currently 41, 42 players on it, but now teams across the country are only allowed 34 players. So, Mike.
Yeah, we were asked, we got a question on the Ask Mike about that about a week or so ago, and I never got an answer from anybody. So I got it straight from him.
Straight from the source.
It's kind of complicated, but it's sort of a version of what happened, what's going on right now with these guys getting their 5th year back.
Yep.
What happened was when they made the decision to do to go from 11.7 scholarships to 34 scholarships, the NCAA also put a cap on that. Well, anybody that was already in a program somewhere that was recruited under the old system where they could be a larger roster, they just didn't have necessarily a full scholarship. They're now calling them designated student athletes. And what that means is you were recruited and ended up in a program before this happened. So as long as, and it may be another 2 years.
Yeah, before these.
As long as this happens, those people will still be able to be on the roster. And even if they transfer, they can do that. So he's got 41, even though he's supposed to have 34 on the roster, which is good. You got extra people.
Yeah, gives you a leg up, especially down the stretch of the season. We saw guys get hurt even in the middle of the season. So that'll definitely help him out in the long run. Okay, a new guy coming in that there's also a lot of buzz around. And, you know, when we brought it up to DVH, he had a big smile on his face.
Yeah.
Shogo Miyauchi, the Japanese high school player, coming straight to college in America.
I said to him, now, when Ailey goes out there in fall ball, you know, the first day, and she wants to interview him, how's she going to be able to communicate with him? And then you were the one that because he doesn't speak much English, but you were the one that pointed out they have cell phones now that have translation programs.
The new AirPods. So the new AirPods you can put in, and I believe if they're connected to your phone, I just got them, so I need to try this out. But if you put them in your ears, it can translate in real time. So that could be something that helps us out.
So you're talking to him,
but if not, I'm going to need to download Duolingo.
Japanese in his ear.
Yeah.
So maybe it works that way. Then he talks back, and you're going to have the reverse. You're going to have to be able to hear him.
We might need to go through some trial and error with this.
But it's going to be interesting to see how that works. They aren't 100% sure. I asked Dave Van Horn, can he start the next year? And he said, well, we don't know. We know basically the 3 pitches that he's got. We know he's pretty good, but we're going to have to wait and see when he gets here. But if it takes him a year to develop, if he's more of a bullpen guy the first year, that's fine. I asked DVH, do you have your three-man rotation? Were you able to come out of that portal period and with what you needed? Because he lost one really good pitcher that he was counting on. And he said, no, we don't. But he said, we will by the, you know, you got some guys coming back that pitched as true freshmen, didn't do very well, went into the Cape Cod League, pitched really well. So I think they're going to come up. You've got a Gibbler who, never really made it as a starter last year. He was more of a reliever, but I think year 3, he could do that.
But freshman year, he looked really promising. I remember DVH talking about that right after they lost in Lawrence. They thought he was going to be one of their better arms this year, and he just wasn't. So I think that's a guy they're really focusing on.
I just think they'll come up with 3 starters.
Yeah. I think the dust is also just settling now, right? Like the window is closed. What they have on their roster is who is going to be here now. There's no more movement that's allowed to happen. So that should be pretty interesting. Anything else that stood out to you that he said?
No, just the extra money that he's got. He went out and raised that money himself. Which was pretty impressive,
Yeah.
He said we needed more money, and he said I definitely got some help from some people who support our baseball program.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it for this week's PTN Extra. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.